What's going on, guys? It's Phil here, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today is AEW WrestleDream Day, and we are going to be giving you guys my full thoughts and opinions on what is ultimately going to be taking place at WrestleDream tonight in Tacoma, Washington. We're going to be running down the entire card. I'm going to be telling you guys who I ultimately think is going to be winning these matches and what I hope that AEW WrestleDream can be for the company of AEW. Last week, we saw one of the biggest days in their company's history when they announced their new TV rights deal with Warner Bros. Discovery and their new streaming deal with Max. This past Wednesday, for Title Tuesday, we saw one of the lowest ratings, if not the lowest rating, that AEW Dynamite's ever had. And right now, the company is at a low point with their fan base and the overall landscape of pro wrestling. What I hope AEW uses this show for WrestleDream is a springboard to get not only the fans back on their side, but to get AEW back on track. We got a lot of things going on at WrestleDream, right? And if you take a look at the card from top to bottom, it's not a bad card by any means, but it's definitely one of their weakest shows on AEW pay-per-view in quite some time. But there's always a but when it comes down to these situations. They can still make this show a fantastic show because AEW always usually, makes their pay-per-views must see. So, with that being said, we can make this show a springboard to get the fans back on your side and make things happen for your company for months and years to come now with your new TV rights deal. So, let's run down AEW WrestleDream 2024 together, and I'll be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions and predictions on what can happen at WrestleDream tonight. Let's go. We're going to be running down the 0-hour pre-show fairly quickly. That way we can get to the main card as soon as possible. I'm going to be giving you guys Anna Jay the victory over Harley Quinn. I'm going to be giving you guys the MxM Connection, the win over the Acclaimed, and then I'm going to be giving you guys Brian Cage a victory over Atlantis Jr. to become the new Ring of Honor World Television Champion. So there you go. But now, let's get to the main card. Let's talk about this matchup here that we got fairly out of nowhere. I didn't even really know that this match was actually even happening at AEW WrestleDream, but we're here now and we're going to predict it. So, Hologram is going to be taking on the Beast Mortos, and I'm going to be giving Hologram the victory here. I mean, Hologram is a huge mainstay on AEW Collision at the moment. He is undefeated. He just had his AEW Dynamite debut on this past Tuesday's Title Tuesday episode of Dynamite, and they are just really pushing Hologram right now. Mortos, he's been actually doing some very good stuff as of late, as we've been getting to see him more on AEW programming. But right now, it's Hologram's time. Tony Khan loves Hologram, and they're just not going to continue to. They're not going to stifle his push as of right now. So I'm giving Hologram the victory, and then we'll see where things go with him down the line. I ultimately like what he's all about. I just don't know where things are going to be going for him after everything is all said and done at WrestleDream. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, Hologram for the victory here seems like a pretty safe bet. Let's talk about the return of Swerve Strickland, as he will be making his return to AEW tonight at WrestleDream. And there's a ton of things that can actually happen in this whole situation here with Swerve Strickland now coming back into the fold with AEW. We last saw him in that hellacious steel cage match against Hangman Adam Page, and Hangman Adam Page has just been on a warpath with himself lately ever since he took out Swerve Strickland, and now that he's back in AEW, we have no idea what's going to be happening for the foreseeable future of what Hangman is going to be wanting after everything is all said and done, and what the Swerve want at the end of all of this. I really hope that at some point throughout this segment, we get to see the newly, acquired asset of MVP and Shelton Benjamin. This whole thing between MVP and Swerve Strickland and MVP and Prince Nana and how everything is kind of just all forming within itself right here, it really makes me think that Swerve Strickland, in some way, shape, or form, can actually join this new Hurt Business 2.0 type of deal, and maybe he can actually be a part of the Hurt Syndicate and make something happen within himself. I love the connection that Swerve Strickland has with Prince Nana, but just seeing that whole aspect of him not turning on Prince Nana, but him leaving Prince Nana to join up with MVP, who is a great manager in his own right, would be a very interesting way to go about things. And I personally would just love to see it. So I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but something of that nature should go down within this return segment. And I really hope that we get to see MVP and Shelton Benjamin in this segment later on tonight for WrestleDream. So we'll see where it all goes down. Speaking of Hangman Adam Page, he has a matchup against Jay White, and I love that Jay White is back on AEW television. I love that Jay White is actually in this matchup against Hangman Adam Page. But don't I love to see Jay White back on AEW programming? I don't see him really picking up the victory here. I would love it. I would love it if he picked up the victory here over Hangman Adam Page. But with what Hangman Adam Page is doing right now on AEW programming, I just don't see how Hangman Adam Page loses this. So my pick is Hangman Adam Page. I wonder how many times I've actually said the words Hangman Adam Page, but just in the minute segment that I'm actually doing this here for the video. But yeah, the whole thing about Hangman Adam Page and his warpath within himself and his warpath to either get back to Swerve Strickland or just whatever he is trying to accomplish is very interesting to me. And you can only continue to do that kind of warpath if he continues to pick up victories after victories after victories. So Hangman Adam Page needs to pick up the victory tonight at WrestleDream, and then maybe down the line we'll see these two again, and hopefully, just hopefully, Jay White can get his comeuppance down the line, or you can have these two meet in the Continental Classic where things can ultimately come out in Jay White's favor in the end. Maybe. I'm just spitballing here, but I would love to see those two in the Continental Classic down the line and maybe meet again in the future. Now, this matchup was supposed to be an open challenge, but then it didn't turn into an open challenge because it's been kind of announced for weeks now that this matchup is going to be up against Brody King. So it's Darby Allin versus Brody King. And look, Darby Allin, he was supposed to get an AEW World title shot at Grand Slam. That didn't happen because he put his title on the line, or title shot on the line, I should say, against Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley beat Darby at Grand Slam for the title shot, which is why we're getting Bryan and Jon in the main event tonight. And we're getting this open challenge type deal with Brody King and Darby Allin. But regardless of however we got here, and Darby Allin is going to pick up a victory over Brody King. I personally would actually like to see Brody King win this matchup here, but that's most likely not going to happen. I love Brody King, but that's just not going to happen. Darby Allin is going to be getting the victory in his home state of Washington and just, fight back to get to that world title picture. I ultimately see him getting back into that world title picture by World's End, but we'll see where things go down the line. My pick is just Darby Allin, and then we'll see where things go with him down the line. And hopefully, just hopefully, he would get back to that world title picture. So Darby Allin for the win. Mark Briscoe defends his Ring of Honor World Championship against Chris Jericho. And this one is just a fairly easy one to get through, guys. Mark Briscoe's retaining the title. Jericho is not bringing up Jay Briscoe in the way that he did to not have Mark Briscoe get his comeuppance, get the victory over Chris Jericho, and ultimately get some respect back for his long lost brother and for his late brother, Jay Briscoe. What Jericho said on that Dynamite completely shocked everybody, and at the end of the day, we are not going to be having what Jericho said about Jay Briscoe go unnoticed, Mark Briscoe has to win the championship tonight, or retain the championship rather, because if he doesn't and Jericho wins the title tonight, it would just make no sense, and it would just honestly really be disappointing in AEW for using the name of Jay Briscoe in the way that they did, just so that they can take the title off of Mark. It's just not happening. It's not happening. Mark Briscoe is going to retain, and that's just that. Simply, and that is just that. Mark Briscoe retains. Simple as that. Jack Perry defends the TNT Championship against the wrestler Katsuyori Shibata. Pretty simple one here. Jack Perry is not losing that TNT title anytime soon. He's just not. I love Katsuyori Shibata. I think Katsuyori is absolutely fantastic at what he does. I ultimately love him because of the nickname, the wrestler. I just think that's hilarious. But regardless of that fact, we are going to be just seeing Jack Perry continue his run as TNT champion. And then, after everything is all said and done with that, I would really hope that we can get things in gear for one Daniel Garcia. I think Daniel Garcia versus Jack Perry would be something that I would not only just personally love to see, but I know my friend Johnny would personally love to see, his guy, Daniel Garcia, in a championship situation. And I think the TNT title would be a perfect spot for him. Yeah, sure, that would probably cause some tension between him and, Marissa. Shout out to you both. But, yeah, I just don't see how Jack Perry loses his title here, but I also don't see a world where after everything was all said and done with what the announcement was for Daniel Garcia on this past Tuesday's episode of Dynamite, where he wants a championship opportunity, that he doesn't get one. So hopefully we get that down the line, and maybe we can just see some inner turmoil between those two. I would absolutely love to see it, and we'll see where things go. But yeah, Jack Perry retains, and then maybe, just maybe, Daniel Garcia can make his presence known and go after that TNT title. The Young Bucks defend their AEW World Tag Team titles for what I literally only believe is going to be the second time within their title defense. If I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments. But if I'm right, that's atrocious. Look, the EVPs are going to retain here. I love Private Party, don't get me wrong. Private Party are fantastic, right? I love Mark Quinn, and I love Cassidy, or Zay. But they're just not winning the titles. They're just not winning the titles against the Young Bucks. They're not winning the titles against the EVPs. The EVPs are just going to retain. And we'll see where things go from there. I don't know who's really going to beat the Young Bucks for the tag titles. They haven't found anybody that's even relevant enough to beat the EVPs yet. So I don't even know if it's ever going to happen, to be completely honest with you. The EVPs are just going to retain, and that's just a matter of fact there. And the thing is, guys, I know this is really the second clip for the same matchup here, but I just don't know where else the EVPs and the Young Bucks can go with these tag team titles. I want something new to happen for these tag team titles. I want these tag team titles to mean something again in AEW, and I want the tag team division of AEW to mean something again. But as of right now, in this current landscape of AEW, the tag team titles don't really mean much. And that sucks, because I love tag team wrestling. I think tag team wrestling is absolutely fantastic. But right now, in AEW, it's kind of hard to even, try to figure out who are even the rest of the tag teams in the division, let alone who can defeat the EVPs for the tag team titles. It's just a very, very weird situation. But yeah, hopefully this matchup can be a catalyst to get tag team wrestling back on track within AEW. That might be a hope that, might be, a pipe dream per se, but hopefully that's not the case. We need tag team wrestling back in AEW programming to be something of relevant again, and hopefully this tag team match can make that happen. AEW Women's World Championship on the line as Mariah May defends against Willow Nightingale. I love Willow Nightingale, don't get me wrong. I think Willow Nightingale is easily going to be a future AEW Women's World Champion. But does that happen tonight at WrestleDream? No, I don't think so. Mariah May is just going to retain her AEW Women's World Championship here. I actually love Mariah May. I think Mariah May is absolutely fantastic at what she does, and I loved that she won the championship from Toni Storm in the way that she did at All In. But as of right now, AEW, for a lack of a better term, has dropped the ball on Mariah May's AEW Women's World Championship run. She needs to have a legitimate feud and a legitimate rivalry with somebody to really get things back on track for her and the AEW Women's World Championship. I know they're really trying to hold out right now on Mina Shirakawa, and I love Mina. Everybody loves Mina. But you can't always just rely on somebody, you know, just to be there on television every single week, like Mina, just to really hold everything over. You really need to get other women out in front of the line, out in front of the pack, and really make a case as to why they should be going after the Women's World Champion right now. And not many people are in that spotlight. So hopefully AEW has a better plan for Mariah down the line, because I don't want Mariah to just have maybe a couple hundred days as champion and just be done with it. I need an actual story here with Mariah May, and hopefully we get that down the line. But I don't know if we're actually going to be getting that until Toni Storm gets back on AEW programming. And honestly, let's just face it, we have no idea when that's going to be. So Mariah retains the title here, and then maybe, just maybe, future storylines can happen for her down the line. Three-way match for the AEW International Championship as Will Ospreay defends against his rival Ricochet and a new rival within the Don Callis family himself in Konosuke Takeshita. Don Callis sent Konosuke after Will Ospreay, as we learn on this Tuesday's AEW Dynamite episode. And yeah, he's kind of just been inserted into this whole situation between Will Ospreay and Ricochet, and now we have this triple threat as a result of that. And, it really does kind of seem like Will Ospreay kind of has just some people coming at him from all angles, right? Ricochet showed on up in AEW during the Casino Gauntlet match, and he has been doing some cool things on AEW programming. Will Ospreay is trying to get himself out of the Don Callis family. He basically is and has been already out of the Don Callis family, but because now that he's out of it, Don Callis just really just sent Konosuke Takeshita to really just, teach him a lesson, so to speak. And just to show that nobody's messing with Don Callis and the rest of his family. Lance Archer is even a part of the Don Callis family now, so there's that to even take into account. But to me, I just think Will Ospreay is just going to retain the international title here. I would personally just love to see a matchup between Konosuke and Will for the international title down the line, and honestly, that's what I was hoping was going to happen in the first place, but because of everything that happened with Will and Ricochet, that's why we kind of got to a triple threat regardless. We're not done with Ricochet and Will Ospreay yet. We all know that that's not over by a long shot. But down the line, I can easily see those two go at it again for the AEW International title, where I can actually see Ricochet possibly get his first championship in AEW. But that's not going to be until way further down the line. And maybe, just maybe, we can get something going between Konosuke Takeshita and Will Ospreay before all of that situational stuff can happen between Will and Ricochet. There's a ton of things that can happen here with this triple threat match, but the ultimate winner in the end is going to be Will Ospreay, as he'll retain the international title. And then finally, the AEW World Championship is going to be defended in the main event as Bryan Danielson defends that World Championship against Jon Moxley. Now, potentially, this could be the final match of Bryan Danielson's full-time in-ring career, and this could be the final pay-per-view of Bryan Danielson's full-time in-ring career. And as a loving Bryan Danielson fan that I am, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that, but I have to accept it because that's ultimately going to be the case. Jon Moxley is most likely winning the AEW World Championship once again in AEW tonight for what I believe is actually going to be the fourth time in AEW's history that he'll be holding that championship, which is, a great feat to have. But retiring Bryan Danielson from full time in ring competition is honestly just a really full circle moment between the two. Because if you guys remember, those two joined forces because they bled together in one of AEW's most finest matches that they've really ever produced. And it's a really good full circle moment. And honestly, I'm just thinking that with how everything kind of just lined up in the way that it did, Bryan probably wanted this to happen. Bryan probably wanted to go out on top with his BCC former brother in the end. And, if that's the way that Bryan Danielson wanted to go out for his full time in ring career, then nobody can really ever take that away from him. And Bryan Danielson is going to go out with on his back and give Jon Moxley the AEW World Championship in the end. Jon Moxley and this whole group of Claudio, Pac, and Marina Shafir have been running rampant all over AEW as of late. And it's honestly been one of the most intriguing storylines for AEW over the course of the whole situation that happened between Jon and Bryan at All Out. And it's just been a very, very interesting situation to keep track of, right? But now I'm thinking that tonight is going to be the night where we finally get the reveal of who is honestly controlling Jon Moxley to do this. Is it Shane McMahon? Is it somebody like Sami Callihan, who has been another name that's just been thrown around in this whole situation as to who could possibly be the one to, really get things in motion for what Jon Moxley is trying to do with this new group of his? We have no idea who is controlling Jon Moxley in the way that he is doing things for this group. But regardless, it's been one of the most intriguing things on AEW programming for quite some time. And it's easily been one of the most intriguing things since the Elite storyline, which is barely even a thing anymore. And honestly, the Elite storyline has been dead for the better part of however long it's even really been a thing. The Elite storyline never, really materialized in anything. And the Elite storyline was basically just dead upon arrival. This right here is something that everybody is invested in. We're trying to figure out where things are going, and I absolutely love what is happening here. I don't think the world title really needs to be involved in all of this, but if you're going to make the AEW world title be a part of all of this, why not just give it to Moxley? And Moxley's just a really good reset button to get things back on track. And, with everything that's going on with this whole storyline right now for Moxley, I would just say give him the title. Let's see where things go. And then who knows what can happen from here on out. So my pick is Jon Moxley. We're probably going to get a new AEW World Champion out of this. And we'll see where things go from there. But yeah, it's going to suck that Bryan is no longer going to be a full-time in-ring competitor, but we'll see him down the line. I don't think this is going to be the end of him in AEW. I just think that with everything that is happening right now with him and his health comes first, and he needs to take care of that before he can ever step foot back into an AEW ring again. So Moxley going to get the title, and we'll see Bryan Danielson down the line. But yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting main event to keep your eyes locked in on. And I, for one, am very excited to see what goes down. But yeah, those are my picks for AEW WrestleDream 2024. If you guys liked what you guys saw here tonight for this AEW WrestleDream 2024 predictions video, make sure you guys hit the like button, turn on the bell for all notifications as you subscribe to the channel. That way you guys never miss another upload right here on the YouTube channel. I got another video coming out this weekend, and you guys are not going to want to miss that, so make sure you have those notifications turned on. And I'll be getting you guys my AEW WrestleDream 2024 review. I'm going to shoot for Tuesday, so stay tuned for the Tuesday's upload for my AEW WrestleDream 2024 review. Thank you guys so much for joining us right here on the YouTube channel. Have fun watching WrestleDream, and I'll see you in the review on Tuesday. And we'll see what happens for WrestleDream tonight on pay-per-view. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good rest of your day. Stay safe, God bless, and peace.